모닝 파워! 모닝 터보!
We have one more series to finish the night here at SSL Premier. Will be Maru versus Zest, another PVT. Alive, he handled it well early in the first game, but then eventually fell down to the Protoss player stats. Can Maru work out a different result here against Zest, who hasn't been doing too well?
I think not doing too well is definitely a very polite understatement of his lack of success in this tournament. He did defeat SOS. That's his only set win. SOS and him are both at 1 and 5. Well, I suppose SOS is now 1 and 6 with his loss earlier. If Zest also faces the same fate and takes the 6th loss, he will not be able to go to playoffs. It's still possible, however, if he wins every match from here on out to actually advance through tiebreakers. We will have to win every single best of 3, starting with Maru.
A New Hope Stars superhero. You go back with one quotation mark on the left side of back. I have no idea what that means.
I think this is supposed to be some sort of parody of Star Wars A New Hope, but maybe it's supposed to be just like a bunch of different things together.
I still have no idea what it means. If you guys get the reference, definitely tweet at me or Wolf, Proxy Wolf. At Proxy Wolf or at
you know the old, it's a famous gag, you know, the one quotation mark? Yeah. It's like it leads you on. You're like, oh, what's the rest of the quote? There's probably another quote. Maybe it's on the back of a shirt or something. We'll never know.
Well, guys, we're going to be going into game number 1 here. It will be on Daybreak for Maru versus Zest.
Maru, 조성주. Zest, 주성우.
Fly Butterfly, Jin Air. We finally have another Jin Air player playing, and this is him. Down in the bottom left, it's Maru from the Jin Air Green Wings.
And up to the top right in yellow, it is Zest, 1 and 5. Had he lost the game against SOS, he would have already been denied the ability to go to playoffs, but he still has one chance. And it's going to be that way every single week until he loses. That could be this week against Maru. He has to all-kill this tournament. He's all-killed opponents he was the underdog in before. That's how he got the nickname Kingslayer. He didn't stab any Mad Kings in the back, that's for sure. So,
but he did kill some really good players.
He all-killed SKT, and then did a lot of other all-kills in Pro League and StarCraft 2. Actually, really good in Pro League and Brood War, around the same time as Innovation, kind of the rise in 2008, 2009 for Zest. It was known as Pichogop back then. Cover yourself in blood is the nickname. Changed it to Zest to a little bit less violent of a nickname when he moved into StarCraft 2. You know,
it's pretty zesty.
There are, going back onto kind of our narrative from earlier about Zerg legends, Zest was once a Protoss legend until, in fact, it still is, and is still widely respected as one of the best Protosses in the world. And legends demand respect, but reigns of top-tier players eventually come to an end. And there's a lot of Zest fans. He's one of the most popular players in this tournament. I feel like he alone is one of the major reasons why there's so many people in the studio this evening, even at this late hour, to wait to watch his match, the final match.
Yeah, even as the crowd has kind of thinned out as it's gotten later, I feel like this was the loudest cheer for both of these players. Both of these guys have tons of fans.
Yeah, but when you're knocked out of the GSL by Creator, which is no surprise given Zest has never won a televised match against Creator in his career. Knocked out of a GSL by Creator, that's a statement in itself. And you are 1 and 5, only defeating the other player who's also 1 and 5 in this tournament. How much longer can you demand that respect? You know, it may be time that his time may be over. Fruit Dealer's time was over very short, as it was. July Zerg retired from StarCraft 2. These big legends, eventually, they're over. And is that the time for Zest? I don't know, but the fans are starting to ask the question, you know, what's going on with Zest, because he is massively slumping right now. And I know people always say, well, Wolf always says slumping. I'm like, look at his results and tell me he's not. He lost back-to-back 2 round of 32s in the GSL, and now he's at the bottom.
No one can argue against that now. I mean, at the beginning of SSL Premier, before GSL came around and he lost to Greater, maybe you're like, oh, you know, maybe it's just a small dip in his play. But now it's like, okay, this guy is definitely taken a step back. And I think a lot of it has to do with him leaving, or not leaving, but KT breaking up as a team, lost his kind of support system. Maybe he was focusing on some other stuff. Can't really blame him too much, but I mean, he was good enough to qualify for SSL Premier, so he's definitely not a bad player, right? It's just compared to some of these other guys that are really fantastic. And well, in fact, he's going to come on in here and get a lot of damage already.
Yeah, Cyclone comes out just in time, though, to push this away, but already a ton of damage done, not only to the SCVs, but also to the Marines.
6 kills.
This Mothership Core also denies mining at the Natural while we were talking of Legends and Heroes. Maru, the Terran hero in this best of 3, struggling a little bit in the early game. Does lose this Reaper and gets the scout of the extra gateways. His gateways are going to be very...
Sees one extra. He doesn't see all 4.
The gateways are going to be very critical in defending the counterattack that Maru is going to send across, because he knows that the amount of resources required for that much of a commitment with the Oracle there are going to be high when he's also built a lot of units himself. He actually gets a Viking out as well. He has this Cyclone. I feel like a counterattack soon from him is going to happen if he gets any inkling that Zest has taken a 3rd base. He's already sending these Widow Mines across the map. The Oracle is in position. So is a Stalker, so it's going to be tough to unload these. He may try to force it, but I feel like it's better forced at the Natural, not here. He's trying to pull a fast one on Zest, actually.
He's trying to fake him out.
And I think he's been faked out. Okay, at least he warps in these Stalkers.
Yeah. Oh, he might actually lose that medevac. Dropping out the Widow Mine, it gets tagged. Actually does hit one of the Stalkers, but overall, a medevac and 2 Widow Mines lost for 1 Stalker. Not a bad trade here for Zest.
Well handled by Zest there. Turret finishes up here.
Probe's like, how'd he do? Oh, wait, that's not my base. Wrong way.
Well, Maru has a very tight defense setup. I mean, look at his... He even has a missile turret at the front of his base. This is like, I'm not going to die to anything. Raven coming up. Siege tanks. 2 of them. That's not even a TY tank. It's a double tank. It's actually making a Raven right now. But no barracks production. 3rd CC probably wants to keep
Stalkers.
He wants to keep making Marines, I have a strong feeling.
Oh, he's going to go for it. The blink on top of the tank. It will get taken out, but another tank here on top of the ramp. He's going to lose a lot of these Stalkers. A little bit overzealous, as actually he had more warping Stalkers being slow warped in at that pylon to go for it, but wanted to take out that tank. Didn't really work out. Now there's another one to follow it up.
Feels intentional, by the way, that Maru is not producing out of the barracks. Is he going to try to go mech here? Like, he is not building anything out of the barracks. He has not for a long time. Like, a long time. Okay, well, he starts the stim now and produces out of the barracks at this point. The barracks was moving onto the stim, onto the tech lab, but for a while there, it was still sitting on the reactor, not doing anything. So I was like, what is going on? Finally, moves over there, starts the stim. And thank goodness he's not going to try to pull in a velo here and go mech. Oracle pushed away, it has 8 kills. The Glaive's coming up, 3rd base as well. And since that was a really positive exchange for Maru, might feel like he's massively ahead because of the Stalker trades, but the 3rd Nexus coming up much faster. His late tech into stim because he played so defensively. I feel like Zest has quite the upper hand here. He's got the lead in workers. I'm going to send these probes over to start mining. A bit too early, but I guess he'll do a long distance trip.
Just one. You got to get some experience on those probes. Don't want to just give them a free ride at the easy 3rd base.
Yeah, no way. We got to earn that easy money.
You got to earn the probe respect.
Some of them are even going to do 2 trips.
Whoa.
Not all of them, though.
Yeah, you sent those really early.
Well, there's no pressure on the map, and he knows it, so I'm going to get a little bit of extra money from this. Fairly risky.
It's better than oversaturating your natural and main, I guess.
Maru doesn't have that big of an SCV deficit despite all the harass and pressure that Zest has put on this game. This is hyper aggressive. He's going to pick off some of these Marines. But, oh, this is...
Okay,
I guess,
gets the tank.
I guess it's fine. He only lost a little bit of hit points on the Stalkers, so loses 1 Stalker in total. I think that was actually a good trade for Zest.
Yeah, Zest has been very consistently going for Blink first in this matchup, and we saw it out of stats against Alive on Frost, but I feel like he was more defensive with that as Alive was kind of pushing across the map there. But you could see Zest's style is more to get in the face of the Terran and do slow warp ins, get those Stalkers across and try to snipe units like this. And he has been able to do that. I don't think it's been super clean, but you can see his intention.
Yeah. He's been going Blink in the PvP matchup too. It's just something he's really been favoring right now. 1-1 upgrades on the way with the double forge. He got very greedy because he's putting so much pressure on Maru. He knows Maru moving across the map is just not really possible right now. Fourth Nexus comes up. Just taking a lot of greedy moves. If Maru ever gets wind of this, gets a large enough army to move out, he's going to have a big problem. But as it turns out, the pressure here and this high adept count is going to stop this small group of units from even taking control of the watchtower. Another big warping of adepts over here. Actually, Stalkers with this. So he has the Blink and this large adept count. Just a gateway army that wants to crush this third base. It almost feels all in from Zesto. I mean, this is a big commitment.
Is he going to go? Oh, he actually completed that, and the Stalkers are way behind. All these Adepts are going to be shredded to pieces.
And the PDD stops the Stalkers from doing any damage. It's out of energy now, but this was amazing for Maru. He's even going to warp in more units here to try to escort these units back. Guardian Shield goes up. Good avoidance here by Maru on that force field. But he is just going to continue to push forward. His Adepts are slow warped and they're not ready yet. The Stalker's mostly on cooldown for Blink. Snipes the Raven. This Maru army is just much larger.
He's pushing on in.
Viking even going to push that Oracle back.
Only Stalkers against Bio and Medivacs has famously never really been good.
Pretty horrendous, in fact.
Yeah.
I like this warp in, because Maru's probably not going to see that or focus on that. That could actually do a lot of damage at the third base if he continues to chase these Stalkers.
He's pushing pretty far.
I like this a lot. This is really smart by Zest, but if he loses these Adepts, look at how small his army looks now. That's my biggest concern. This fourth base was already pretty greedy.
5 Zealots.
See, I mean, he's basically all in with this. Like I was saying before, I'm not sure why he's committing so heavily to this attack now.
When I saw his fourth base coming up while Maru's third was landing and the double forge, I'm like, oh, Zest, he's going to play back, play defensive. He has a very nice lead. Maru was in no way able to punish any of those bases that came out. They weren't super greedy. They were definitely ahead of Maru's, and Zest had a lot of time to just sit back and try to tech up, but instead he tried to force this fight.
Zealots
now adding in
charge.
Zealots.
Yeah, I mean, this is pretty disastrous for Zest. I think this is
very questionable. I mean, this is just never going to work at this point in time. So he's going to lose this fight, and with that slow warp, and he will lose a bunch of these units too. The Adepts are doing a bit of damage, but Maru will easily win this fight up here at the slow pylon.
Just gateway units. He gets upgraded bio. Now with 2-2. Not going to work. When the Shade first completed, my first thought was this is a mistake. But now seeing how the rest of the warp-ins go and starting to understand the build a little bit better, I think he thought this was just going to kill Maru. It was a strong attack, but the Widowmine setup and all the bio, pure gateway units, not enough. Zest isn't even making anything anymore. He has 1,100 minerals and no gas. GG. He started 2-2 before he typed out.
Yeah.
And Maru crushes this game. He was basically behind the entire time, and I feel like Zest even outsmarted him with the fourth base, but he threw it all away with one big attack.
I almost feel like Zest on that map, he struggled so much with multiple drops from Terran players, even from Zergs. He's been the aggressor against Zergs with you know, double Archon drops and stuff like that. I feel like he was like, I don't want to even play this late game. I don't want to lose to Maru's kind of play like that. So I'm just going to try to kill him, even though I do have the advantage after my aggressive play earlier on. But it just clearly did not really work there in game number 1. So I'm curious to see how he'll mix it up on a different map like Newkirk Precinct. This was actually Zest's first pick up against Maru, so he should be pretty confident on this one.
Definitely true. All right, here we go, guys. Zest, can he make Phoenix work with Adept? Is he going to go back into the Blink again? Will Maru close the series out 2-0? Well, he got a little bit lucky in game number 1. Wants to end it here. Let's jump into Newkirk Precinct for game number 2.
Here we go. Down here in the bottom right, the blue Terran. It is Maru.
And in yellow to the bottom left, it is Zest.
Now, I want to point out something. Maru is going for a proxy here, but Maru so far on this map is 0-4, and it's by far the map that he's had the most trouble on. It's a very popular map. It's been played the most times here in SSL Premier out of any of the maps that we have in the pool, and it was first picked by Zest, so I think he also has that information and wanted to abuse Maru for it. So it doesn't surprise me at all that Maru comes on over here and goes for something a bit cheesy, a bit aggressive.
Yeah, this is our first cheese. He also proxied on this map already, if you remember, in the matchup against Innovation, where they had the CCs passing like ships in the night. Looks like it's only a 1 barracks proxy, and I wonder if he has ideas or inklings of putting a factory behind this or something like that, because he's going double gas here with just the 1 barracks. So he's definitely going to transition into factory tech of some kind, and this may even be a lifted Marauder. That would be it's so rare. I don't think he's actually going to do that, but we have seen that before.
I think that's just going to be for the opening unit.
Yeah, but what? It's going to be the Reaper first, but what is the follow-up here? What's the plan?
SCV is sticking around.
Yeah, he's going to make a factory after this, and I guess it's going to be like a Cyclone push. It's my guess, or a Widowmine walk-in. Like, we've seen builds like this before. Which reminds me of Ryung's Ghost cloak build in the GSL.
Well, you got to also think about what is popular for the Protoss players to do on this map, and what we see pretty often, almost all the time, is Stargate openings. So if you can get in there while he's making a lot of gas, skipping on that first unit.
He has queued it, but where is he queuing it?
I think it's at his front door, actually. So just wants to push in here with 1 Reaper and 1 SCV. And, I mean, he's going to see the Stargate. He might do a bit of damage. And he's delaying a lot of mining time, so.
Burst of Depth is not out yet. Mothership Core, though, will be. To get really any kills here, it's super close. SCV tries for it.
That SCV wanted blood.
Look at the gas here for Maru in the bank. Super weird, this game, because you got the double gases so early, made the factory so delayed. It was almost like he decided not to proxy. Very strange. Gonna look for the second Reaper to get some kills here. Gets 2 actually with the weakened probes, and the third one. Really good control here from Maru. Cyclone coming up back at home. I even see like a Cyclone drop. This is so weird. He's gonna block the Nexus with this barracks. Oh, I think he's too slow. No, that's the adept shape.
Yeah.
Gets it off.
He could have actually blocked the barracks with his adept potentially, but
I don't think he even thought about it. It's such a rare scenario.
Yeah. He's taking the third. He's like, okay.
Oh man, this is awkward.
Now
with the third base, Maru can attack at a closer distance with the double Cyclone he's now committing to. It's going to help shut down the Oracle, and then it could be used for an attack.
I don't know if this is going to be enough. I mean, the lock-on will push back the Oracle, but the Oracle versus 2 Marines is going to be easy peasy. Going to rely on the lock-on for now, but that's just tickling the Oracle.
He will have a second lock-on soon, and the CCs in the main base. Love this scout by Maru, because he's like, well, are you doing like an all-in, or are you just making an extra weird play? So we'll not only check the base, but we'll see if anything else is being made out of the Stargate, how many gateways there are. We'll possibly scout the research of Blink. Unless he's done mad research on Zest, he's probably going to think it's Adept Glaives. Doesn't actually see it. Oh boy. This game is, I think we're reaching Clown Fiesta levels. We're getting close. That's what my scouter's telling me. Oracle gets pushed away by the Viking now, and that will finally seal a deal in terms of defense. But this is the cycle pressure I was talking about. Does it without a medevac, just drives across the map. Zest doesn't have enough units here. In fact, he has 1 Adept on the map. Blink is on the way.
What is this game? He doesn't have a pylon to overcharge, and he's trying to desperately make it, but that Nexus is dangerously low.
I think he just loses it and loses the game.
Well, the Oracle comes back.
Here comes the Oracle. It needs
double lock on.
Yep.
There's the third one, though, and the Oracle goes down, and 3 Cyclones.
He needs a micro back to the pylon so that he can use the overcharge. The medevac can now pick up the Cyclone. Actually picks up the wrong one. Actually, still walks away anyways. making Marines in the main base. Like, I mean, what am I watching? What is this? This is professional play.
He's fighting against the Stalkers now. The overcharge in the main will come down.
He saves both Cyclones, very low hit points. The Nexus survives, but it's super low. Oh, back at home, he's making another Cyclone. He can repair the Cyclone that's back at home, too.
That Nexus, both of these Cyclones are so low,
He needs to pick up, he needs to pick up, picks him up. And he could just go home and repair these and bring up the other Cyclone he has that's probably also been repaired. I think
He's
it's
got
just coming
4
back
now, and if those units are out of position at all, he can snipe that Nexus with a double drop. He only has 1 medevac right now, though. So
it's kind of crazy to think that this game would look totally different if he hadn't blocked the Nexus with a barracks, or it had Zest just block the barracks with his Adept. Like, how different this game would look. It's crazy. All right, he has Blink, don't forget, with these Stalkers. Cyclone repair here. The bunker is not ready yet, but he has to blink away anyways. I think it's going to finish.
Yeah, it
Zest is pushed back.
Just barely. That SCV was very low, but no target.
Zest wants to take a 3rd base. I really like the idea.
Builds something else. Some Stalkers, it looks like, before he goes for that Nexus. Wants to get the most out of his warp-in cycles.
Yeah, it's
continue the pressure.
Kind of feels like it would be a waste to not try to put a little bit more pressure onto the Stalkers against this small army comp from Maru. And also, it would be a much safer to have the Stalkers to pressure before making the Nexus, because remember that Nexus at the, I don't want to call it the natural, but the 3rd base location, the 2nd base of Zest, is super late. The Green Collars are freaking out because I think he's going to try to snipe this with a Cyclone. I don't think that's going to work.
Trying to come in here and snipe some units, though, is Zest.
Zest super low with all these Stalkers. His micro was so good earlier. He saved them all at low health, but it's kind of a liability.
The Cyclone, here it comes!
I mean, no way, right?
It can get surrounded by the probes. He's going to try to warp in here.
Pretty quick. He needs to micro this.
He's committing. Oh, so low. 51 health.
That was pretty optimistic by Maru.
He was close. That was really close. He can try to send it. It actually forces Zest to go back.
I mean, the thing is, if he gets it, it's amazing, and even though he didn't get it, it's still low cost. So I can't argue with the move. I think it's pretty smart to at least try for it. If Zest mess up even a little bit, he does get it, like you were saying. But you know, it's kind of crazy to me that Zest wouldn't have any units or mothership nearby to defend, given that even a drop of Marines would have killed that. Now Maru's going to move across the map to try the killing blow on that Nexus, but the Stalkers are going to blink to try to slow this down. They're very low, not shown on screen, but the hit points of these Stalkers are insanely low. We'll look at the medevac health instead, but...
Yeah, especially these two that just got sniped out as if they're wearing paper armor.
He's just going to try to make it look like he has a larger army than he does. To fake this out to go for the Nexus snipe. He's going for it. Force shields are going to have to be quick. They're going to have to be quick. They're late in Guardian shields. That's not going to save the Nexus.
Well, he's going to snipe the sentries first, then get the Nexus. Down it goes. He's going to take the path up to the north, but he is going to lose these units.
He uses a lot of units for this, and he scans. He's like, oh my god, you had a base at your natural. Maru is so mad right now. That was so expensive. So expensive.
We're still in Toontown, by the way, guys. This is still happening.
Yeah. Was Toontown that weird free MOBA that was always on TV?
Yeah.
Or not MOBA, MMORPG.
MMO, yeah. With the tunes.
I remember seeing that ad on TV, but I just didn't have good internet or anything downloaded. I always wanted to try it. Was it a good game? Did you play it?
I played it when I was pretty young, yeah.
Okay, I always wondered about that game. Now I'm glad to know it was like a good game, but anyways.
I mean, for what it was good. Had some pretty cool mechanics.
Was it like Gary's mod or something? Was it like just kind of wonky?
I don't know what Gary's mod is, actually.
Oh, okay. Well,
but it was like you have gags that you use to kill monsters, and you level them up and fight harder monsters. It's like, you know, it's an MMO.
So basically exactly this game.
yeah, exactly.
Well,
right on point.
He doesn't use some of his blinks. The drop's going to get through here. He has more units in the main base. These drops aren't very full, though, so I don't think he can actually unload here.
Can't commit to this.
Maru is in some serious trouble in this game. Now he can't stop the third Nexus from being rebuilt. It's now mining. Like, I think Maru just didn't realize that the third base was up at the natural. So he's scanning. He's like, oh, God. I thought if I just snipe this, I win. But he thought he was further ahead than he was. Now he's not ahead at all. Zest has 3 bases, starting a 4th base. Gonna get a Void Ray for drop defense because Maru has shown that he wants to turn this game around with a Doom drop. It's kind of what Maru does when he's behind. People called him the Marine Prince back in the day, but he's very much like Marine King in that way. He's like, I'm behind, but maybe if I just drop 8 medevacs in your base, I win.
Maybe if you're just not scouting, I can kill you.
He still has a strong army. He's not massively behind by any means. But he needs to shut down one of these bases or take a 4th of his own.
Needs to force Zest into a bad fight.
Ooh,
really
force
good
fields
force
are good.
fields, but good pickup there by Maru. Actually, the Shade is going to complete. Lots of Widowmine shots to go off. Chunk down that Adept army.
Still, the Protoss army is very large here. Maru has a lot of medevacs to support this. He is just going to stim real hard and win the fight and win the game.
Down it goes, and that's what I was saying.
Gateway units are just not good against Bio that's upgraded with medevacs. I feel like I watched this last game. I think Zest has a different understanding of what Gateway units are capable of.
This time it's Liberators and Widowmines too, and when you shade all of your Adepts into that many Widowmines and lose half of them, you're just not going to win the fight. And that's what I was thinking. You know, maybe if he can bait Zest into a fight that Zest cannot win, if it's not micro correctly against, well, then he can win the game. That's exactly what just happened here. Maru's going to take the 2-0 here over Zest, who continues to have trouble. There you go, GG.
He is now no longer eligible for playoffs.
Zest, that is.
Yes. Zest and not Crater knocked Zest out of the GSL. Zest and SOS both are out. They will continue to play the round robin games for the remainder of regular season, but they will not play postseason. Maru crushes him there in that fight with the big Widowmine shot. Zest just not being careful. He had every advantage in the world in terms of bases. Could have just played a little bit more passively. Got Colossus tech and won the game afterwards. 2 games where Zest had the eco lead with the 4th base. Decided to take a fight willy-nilly, I would say. I think that's the technical term for what he did. Haphazard with those units in game number 1 and game number 2. Maru wins the fight and wins the game as a result. And will further his record. He had a rough start to SSL Premier, but he's on his way to potentially getting into that postseason. Kind of in the middle of the pack right now, but that win over Zest, one that everyone else has gotten, so very important for him to pick it up as well.
He's now 3-4, so he is kind of in an awkward spot. There's still a chance, of course, if he wins his matchups that are actually against Patience and Alive. 2 pretty hard matchups actually for Maru for where we're at right now, but if he can take a couple of wins there, he definitely has a chance to make it into playoffs.
Well, that will close out our evening. Soo-Hyun's going to read out the results. We will too. Matches this evening. Dark, Solar, Innovation, Stats tomorrow, all advanced over their opponents. The only series that went 2-1 was the last one. Innovation will take first place with his win. He's 12-6 to Biel's 11-5. So the much better record, and he and Biel are both 1 win away from making postseason. The same with Solar. You need the 6 wins to secure it.
You can see that Maru moves up to 3-4. Alive falls down to actually match him. So still a chance for those guys. I think they need guys such as Stats, Dark, and Patience to take more losses in order to get through. But we do have SSL Classic on Thursday that'll be casted by Wolf and Rapid, so make sure you guys catch that too. We're
gonna have a lot of mirror matchups, the ZVZ, then the TVZ, and then TVT and PvP, the Raid Free, Light Sock, etc. And of course, Challenge will be on Saturday. The 3 matchups here: Hero, Ryung, Byun, Classic, Deer, and TY. And our premiere will once again be on Monday. Looking at the list of matches, Solar Dark should be a really exciting one. That is the kind of rematch of the finals of the last season of SSL. Maru Patience should be a pretty good one too.
Yeah.
Stats and Bill could be good. I'm not 100% sold on that one. I think Bill is looking so dominant right now.
Yeah, I like that one, and I like the third one that we were just talking about. Already forgot about that.
Soo-Hyun.
That's what happens when you cast this much StarCraft. Anyway.
Yeah. Soo-Hyun flew through those graphics, so we're just going to mention very briefly the GSL will be on Wednesday and Saturday instead of the GSL schedule. So StarCraft 2 everywhere. Check it out and watch it. Special thanks to our fans that came down to the studio, including our Australian friends that came up and talked to us earlier. But that is going to be it for tonight's matches.
Yeah, was another fun Monday casting with the Wolf. I hope you feel the same way. And of course, we will be back next Monday to do more of this fun SSL premiere.
That's right. I do my very first official Overwatch cast tomorrow. I'm looking forward to that. But I'll see you guys on Thursday for SSL Classic, and then back again on Monday for more premiere. Have a great night, everybody. Goodbye.
This world has gotta change. This world has gotta change.